Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this Project Life Process video, I am going to be working on week 40 from 2018, and I will be using Ali Edwards' digital monthly kit from October to help me tell my stories for the week. And this is the second time I have used this kit. The first time I did a scrapbooking layout, and I do not have a process video on that, but if you are interested in seeing what that looks like, it is a Halloween scrapbooking page, and it's actually a story from 2009. So it was kind of nice to be able to jump back in time and tell some of those stories. So never be afraid to do that. That's definitely one of those times in my life where I wasn't scrapbooking near as much as I would have liked to. So there's so many stories back then that have not been told. Anyway, but I used the digital kit for that. So if you're interested, go check out my Instagram. It's Amy Gretchen Studio. If you're not following me, you definitely should be, because then you can see all my latest projects. But right now I'm just cutting out all the pieces that I went ahead and printed. So I have a lot of cards and just a couple of embellishments. So what I'm cutting out right now are these little boxes that say story 1, story 2, story 3, and they actually came on one of the 4x6 cards, but I copy and pasted them off of that card and then printed them out separately because I wanted to be able to add these little cards onto my photos. Now I actually am cutting out 4, but there was only story 1, 2, and 3, so I ended up just using the 3 and putting them directly on the photos with some journaling. So you'll see that coming up. And then I wanted to mention how I made that title card. So you can see that I've got, I guess it's a hexagon that says Loving Autumn. And then I've got that shape repeated, just kind of an outline. So I just created that. I was thinking of making it a little bit smaller, but I liked having that big center. And then what I wanted to do is kind of pop it up so it had a little bit more interest and it wasn't just a flat card. So you can see that I printed out another one of those shapes that has Loving Autumn on it. And you can see that I'm cutting that out right now. And I'm going to stick it over the top, and it actually is slightly bigger, just very slightly bigger. And I'll end up popping that up with some foam adhesive. So you'll see when I do that, but I think it just adds a little bit of interest to have that popped up a bit there. All right, so right now I'm just moving my cards around and trying to decide exactly where I want to go. You can see that I still have not printed out my 3x4 photos. Well, I do have one, and it is in a 4x6 spot. And I decided to do that because I wanted to be able to use that tab, and you can't hook that tab on there and put it into 3x4 page protector. So instead of putting it on the outside of the page protector, I just decided to put it on the 3x4 spot. And I really liked the look of this a lot. And it was able, then I was able to get the story that I wanted to told about that evening, and it goes right along with the card. So love the way that turns out in the end. And then you can see right now, I'm just going ahead and adding the foam adhesive onto the back. I don't end up putting it on, and I don't know if I end up waiting till I do the dates or not. Maybe I was thinking like I should do the dates before I add any bulk to it, but I can't now remember. So for these cards, I decided, because the original cards did have rounded corners, I decided to go ahead and round those corners. So I'm using the Crop-a-Dile, and I can't remember if it was, I think it might have been I think it was a 1/4 of an inch actually that I was rounding those corners. That corner chomper was a 1/4 of an inch and a 1/2 of an inch. And like I said, I just really loved that gave me an option to be able to get more stories told for this week. All right, so you can see that I actually did get some photos printed, and I think I end up printing one more before I finish this layout. But I'm still trying to figure everything out, and I'm still trying to figure out all the stories that I want to tell here because I have a lot of spaces. So I've got that October details. So there's a lot of stuff I can tell in just that card. Then I have the October stories. It's going to allow me to tell, 5 little stories from the week. Then I have the story on the 4x6 4x6 card at the bottom, and then I have the story card, and then the stories on each of the photos. So I actually have a lot of spaces in this layout for telling stories, and I love that because there's always stuff that I feel like I'm leaving out of the weeks because I just don't have enough room in there. So I love having all these options. All right, so one thing that I did want to mention as I'm putting this card together, that yellow star actually came from Ali Edwards' Story Kit Light. I believe it was her Light Story Kit, if I remember. Could have been Learn, but I think it was Light. And it was just sitting on my desk, and I saw that it was like yellow, and it went really well with the colors in the photos and the October theme. So I just went ahead and grabbed it. And because of that, I felt like I needed some more stars. So off camera, and you're not going to see me do this, I pulled out my die cut machine and I die cut these little stars. You can see those at the bottom. So these are a die that came from Simon Says Stamp, and it's just like a whole bunch of little stars, and I love it. I've got the hearts as well, but I just thought it would be a great option because I went through my stash and I couldn't find any yellow stars at all. I think I've used them all because I've definitely had them in the past. So I just went ahead and I die cut that. So that's a great option. Another thing that you don't see me do with those stars is I actually add multiple on top of one another, so they have a little bit more dimension instead of just kind of looking almost 2D because it's a very thin cardstock. Anyway, so I think I don't show you that in this video, but I do end up adding multiple stars on. So you can see that I just went ahead and I finished that title card by adding the date on either side. And then I'm just going ahead and doing all of my journaling. So I just skipped and didn't show you all of my journaling just because it's just a bunch of writing, but you can see all the journaling is done. And then I did the journaling on each of the photos and then added the stars there. Anyway, you guys, that's it. It's pretty simple. These days, I've actually really been loving keeping my photos just as is, not adding a bunch of embellishments on there. But of course, you can see that I did add those story cards to 3 of my photos. But I don't know, that's just kind of what I've been feeling lately. So that's just what I have decided to do. So I'm just going with what I'm feeling. Anyway, you guys, I hope you're able to get some inspiration, even though it was pretty simple. Maybe that's inspiration right there. It's just a reminder that it does not need to be complicated. Thank you so much for being here. And if you like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, I hope that you will do so. Thanks so much, you guys, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.